Alright guys, this is one that I've been really looking forward to doing this year. Today's spooky spot, we're going to be having a look at the Toys R Us exclusive, the Playmates Simpsons Treehouse of Horror box set. Yes, it was something that I really wanted to do, but I thought I could only do it justice by doing it at Halloween. Certainly doing it throughout the year probably would have made no sense. I don't have really many Simpsons sets, many Simpsons figures really to speak of. The only ones I really wanted to get though, if anything, was the Treehouse of Horror. You know me, big fan of the Treehouse of Horror episodes. So we'll look at first, we're going to be looking at the very first set that was released for the Treehouse of Horror. We're going to be looking at the initial set, the very first set that had Ned Flanders as the Devil, Mr. Burns as Dracula, Bart as the Fly, and then of course Homer as King Kong. Before we actually have this opened up, let's have a look at the package. Very neat looking package. Now it's got a try me button on the side, right there. I'm not actually going to try it just yet. I'm going to wait until I open this up so I can show you guys all the sounds. Because yes, for those who aren't familiar with the Simpsons sets, they do make sounds. They do make noises. Down below we got Simpsons in the bottom corner. With 4 exclusive figures available nowhere else. It's always the one you least suspect. On the back, and we've got another picture of the 4 figures in this set, the 4 characters. Springfield Cemetery features a teletronic voice activation. Just connect any compatible World of Springfield interactive figure to hear them talk. They feature also in the package the other sets you can pick up. Not quite Halloween, but we got the nuclear power plant with radioactive Homer, the very first set released, the Quickie Mart with Apu, Living Room with Marge and Maggie, and Springfield Elementary with Principal Skinner. Of course, a array of additional characters you can pick up, individual carded figures. So I am really excited about getting this opened up. Deliberately kept this sealed just for the sake of getting this reviewed. So we're going to get this opened up. We're going to have a look at the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror box set, the very first box set. So there is much more on the way. Stay tuned, guys. Alright, so with a little untying of twist ties and taking out some of the accessories, we finally got the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror set all displayed. Before we actually look at the figures that it include in the set, I'm going to move them just out of the way here for a second so I can show you guys the actual display that it comes with this set. Very, very neat. Of course, we've got the Springfield Cemetery. I don't know if you can see it, but we've got Kang and Kodos behind the gates there. So we've got Marge up there from what Easy Bake Coven. Got a zombie over there and there. Dal Z for zombie. And then of course we've just got the actual cemetery ground itself. Got one that says "Eat My Dust," a tombstone there. Got Itchy and Scratchy. We've also got a hangman. I don't know if you can see it in the corner there. I don't know. It would be funny if that was shaped a little more like Moe. I believe Moe was hung himself in the beginning of one of the Treehouse of Horror episodes, at least the intros. But very, very nicely detailed. The one thing I really like about these sets as well, at least this particular set that we're looking at, is aside from the standard 4 characters that you get with this set, you also kind of get 2 extra characters. Down below, the making out there, we've got the evil Krusty Doll. And then up in the tree there, even though he's not removable, at least we've also got ourselves the Gremlin. So lots to be said, lots to be seen, certainly from the display end of it alone. So we'll put the display stand down, the actual diorama, and we'll have a look at the actual figures that come with this set. First and foremost, we've got ourselves Bart the Fly. And for those unfamiliar with this, why does Bart have a fly head? There was an episode where, much like the movie The Fly, Bart goes into I guess a teleporter of sorts, and he comes out thinking he could be Superfly. He ends up coming out with his head on a little miniature fly, and his body comes out with a human fly head. And this human fly, all he does is go blah, 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 and he just keeps throwing up all the time. Now his articulation is he has articulation in the head, he has articulation in the arms, and nothing really from the waist or in the legs. The selling point really for Simpsons toys was not so much the fact that the articulation, but was the fact that you got pretty much any character you could think of in the Simpsons world, they at one point made into a figure. Of course, on the undersiding we've got the chip that would plug into the display. I'll do that in just a second. So we've got ourselves Bart the Fly. Let's have a look. Not really one of my favorites of this set. We'll look at King Homer. I looked around actually in the box set, and I was really surprised that they didn't have this, but I'm surprised that he didn't come with a little Marge, a little miniature Marge. Maybe perhaps scale-wise it just wouldn't have made any sense. So we got ourselves King Homer. Articulation is, he's got articulation in the head. If I can turn the head, it's a little stiff because it's just come out of the package. Articulation in the arms, and also articulation in the legs. Of course, showing off the chip as well on him. One thing at least I like about Homer is, actually, if I just show off, just move out of camera here for a second. If I show off the original package, you can see Homer, his original production model was in a brown, the prototype. Which really doesn't make sense, because the episode itself was black and white. So I like the fact that they at least gave us a black and white Homer. I don't know. I think it would have been cooler to get a Homer robot, but what can you do? At least we actually got ourselves a Homer Kong. He really should have been taller, though. I would have maybe I would have released him as a separate, larger figure. But really, what can you do? So we got King Homer. King Homer. We've got, and you know what? He's not going to sit because he's top heavy. We're going to look at Mr. Burns' Dracula. I really like this figure. This is probably one of my favorite in the set. One of my favorites. He might be tied with Ned. But I really, really like Mr. Burns here. Excellent. Fresh young victims for my ever-growing army of the undead. Ah, sir, you gotta take the finger off the button. Oh, son of a... Love that. Yeah, he's got the Bram Stoker Dracula big hair. Gary Oldman had. Got himself in a robe. Looks to me like he does share the same body as Mr. Burns. Perhaps they've just put a case over top. There's an actual shell over top that has given him the robe. He's kind of got that excellent kind of hand posture together. Now you can actually have them separate. The hands are movable. Being that they're pre-posed, you're not really going to be able to do much with them. But he also has articulation in the head. Very cool. Mr. Burns. And finally, the other figure in this set, we've got ourselves Ned Diddley Ed as the devil, who wanted, who exchanged a donut for Homer's soul. Also a fantastic episode. It's funny that really all the early Treehouse of Horror episodes, every one of them seemed to be real money. It's only until they get into the later ones that I just not really a big fan. He's the only one that actually comes with an accessory. Comes with his pitchfork. He also has a tail. Very nice tail on the back. That can be arranged. Ned's articulation is he has articulation in the head. As you can see too, his glasses are removable. You have to be careful with them. He has also the articulation in the hands, in the arms I should say. No articulation or anything from the waist down. But we got ourselves Ned. So those are the figures that come with this set. Now of course there's a lot more to be said for this set, being that they have, while they interact with their display stand, Doesn't really matter who you put in into which stand, but if I just move these figures out of the way here for just a second, you can actually see there's a peg mark there, or a peg. There's an interactive peg there, and there's an interactive peg there. The idea is you can take any one of the characters, providing that their chips match up with these peg spots. And if I just bring down the camera here, you can take Ned, for example. Again, it doesn't really matter where you put them, providing that you line them up. Line up. You know what? We'll put him over here. Line them up. That to me sounds like the Fly. So you know what? Maybe for the sake of it, we'll just put the Fly there. There we go. Once pegged in, you just have to press the button on the side here to have them say their voice or their sounds or their lines. Let's probably, you know what we'll do is we'll peg all of them in. And we'll put Flanders in. Some of them I find are a little harder to get in than others. And let's see here.
Simpson, eh? Excellent.
Alright, so we got Flanders in. Pardon my hairy arm. My arm is in the way here. And we got ourselves Mr. Burns way at the back. He's going to be a little hard to get on there just because he's actually in the way with the Krusty doll, and he's got a huge robe. Let's see if we can actually get the peg into place here. There we go. As you can see, you just press the buttons here.
You're fired! It's always the one you least suspect. Silence! All right, Simpson. You get your soul back.
Let's try this button here.
Ooh. Precious blood.
I love that. Precious blood.
Go! 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 All right, Simpson. You get your soul back. Simpson, eh? Excellent.
So, you kind of have to go through some of the buttons.
All right, Simpson. You get your soul back. Simpson, eh?
Well,
Excellent.
we're kind of recycling through, but essentially what you can do is you can plug your characters in, you press your little buttons here, of course, and then they cycle through a series of different lines from the episode. Of course, we got Homer there belching again.
Go! 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 Go!
These are very cool sets. I've always loved these. I was always jealous when my friend actually had the majority of these Simpsons set. I think he had almost all of them. But the ones I really always wanted to get was the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror sets. Just because of the fact that they played audio and everything else. Homer, I don't think is going to fit as well. I probably would have to put him over here. I think if anything could be said, though, is that these sets, a little harder to peg the figures into place. And peg them into place. It's hard to do it when I'm up here and the display stand or the set is actually down below. But a very cool set nonetheless, though. Like I said, I've been really looking forward to getting these guys reviewed, and I figured if anything, I was going to keep them till Halloween, and then for Halloween I was going to do them as a spooky spot.
I hold here a contract between myself and one Homer Simpson, pledging me his soul for a donut.
Awesome. So today's spooky spot, we were looking at the Toys R Us exclusive, the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror box set that featured King Homer. We're looking at Mr. Burns as Dracula. We were looking at Nettie as the devil, and of course down below We've got ourselves Bart as the Fly.
Ooh, precious blood.
And what better way to wrap up this review? So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more spooky spots to come, and I'll see you guys next time. Woo!